A lot of you have been asking about the M1 Finance app, and today, my friend, is that day. I'm giving you my full review as well as a full tutorial on the M1 Finance investment app. Now, this one's a little bit interesting because it's based around a pie methodology. If you're somebody that's interested in getting into an investment app because you want to do some day trading or you want to do some hype stocks or meme stocks or something like that, hey, M1 Finance is not for you. This is based on those that want to build a long-term growth portfolio, one they can look at and say, dang, that looks pretty darn sweet. And that is what we're talking about today. Hey, if you've ever been confused about M1 Finance or you're not sure how to get started, I'm breaking it all down today. I'm gonna pop up my iPhone screen in just a moment, take you through every step of the process and how this bloody thing actually works, because I don't know about you, but when I first started M1 Finance, I was confused about the whole pie thing, how to actually invest in stocks, how to build a pie, and guess what? We're breaking it all down. First thing we're gonna go over is how M1 Finance actually works. We're then gonna talk about how to research and look at expert pies. We're gonna talk about transferring money in and out of the app, and then we're gonna talk about how to build a pie and how to build multiple pies, and I'm taking you all through it today. So without wasting any time, right there it is, M1 Finance app. Let's open it up. It is free to use M1 Finance. You can download the app for free. You can transfer money in for free as long as you do it with your bank or checking account. Click the link down in the description below. Get yourself M1 Finance today. There is a minimum deposit requirement, and that is a minimum of $100 to get started. After you do your first deposit of a minimum of $100, you can then do $10 minimums from there on out. But just keep that in mind. Save up your first $100, get the app, and then you can put that $100 into the stock market and watch it grow and things like that over the long period of time. So you're looking at my portfolio. You can see I have a measly little $102.05 at the current moment, and I have a pie entitled Big Tech. So what I did when I first started out with M1 Finance, first, I screwed up and invested in single stocks because I was not sure how exactly to use M1 Finance when I first got started. And then I figured it out. I said, okay, now I know how to build a pie. Let me start building this out. So that is why I'm making this video. I want to help people like me hit the ground running much faster than when I did when I first got started. So let's get started with the first topic, which is how does M1 Finance actually work? M1 Finance, like I said, is for the long-term growth. The goal here is to build a portfolio, invest over the long term, and watch your portfolio grow. And what I would actually recommend, once you deposit your minimum $100, you build yourself your favorite pie, whichever one you want to do. Then find a way to maybe cut something out of your budget. It could be $10 a week, $10 a month, it could be $20, it could be $50, it could be $1,000, whatever you want it to be, but set it on an automatic transfer. And then every week, maybe 10 bucks comes out of your account and it invest it in your M1 portfolio. And then you can look over the long period of time as you continue to grow and see how your portfolio is doing. That's what makes M1 Finance easy to use. This is for the people that want to set and forget. And let me be honest, while this is not financial advice at all, I have looked at a lot of different millionaire portfolios and millionaire trends. And the most common theme that I see, millionaires set it and forget it. They don't try to time the market. They're not chasing a bunch of volatile stocks. They go with something that they know, like, and understand. They set it and forget it and let it grow over time. That's what M1 Finance is all about. In fact, it is so focused on that theory that there's only one trading window a day. What that means is right now it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. And let's say I want to buy something in my pie. Let me say I want to buy a share of Amazon. Well, I go in and I say I want to buy $10 worth of Amazon stock. Nothing's happening until tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. They only have one trading window per day that the stock market's open, and that's at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you get this app and you use the free version like I'm doing right now, you got to keep that in mind. If all of a sudden you're sitting here one day and you're like, hey, my share of stock is up big time, I need to sell it and cash out right away, you've got to be patient. Because let's say right now that stock is up 10% and you sell it right now thinking you're going to get 10% back. Well, you got to wait until the next morning at 9:30, which we don't know if that will still be at 10%. Maybe it'll be more, maybe it'll be less. Now, there is an upgrade option, and that's called M1 Finance Plus. That gives you a second trade window, which means it'll not only trade at 9:30 a.m., but also in the afternoon. I think it's right around 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you wanted to, you can do an upgrade, but I'm only using the free version now. Right here on the home screen, I'm going to click on what I'm going to refer to as the hamburger menu. Do you see that at the top left-hand side? Yes, I call it a hamburger because it has two buns and a hamburger in the middle of it. So as I say, go to the hamburger menu, that is what I'm talking about. So first of all, look down below here. You can see there's a bunch of options and you can see what's highlighted is invest. We right now are on the invest option, which means that when I click on the hamburger menu, which I'm going to do right now, it's going to give me some different options than it would if I click on spend, transfer, borrow, or research. And I'll explain that in just a moment. Let's go from top to bottom here. So it says join M1 Plus. I'll click on that just to show you what it's all about. So M1 Plus gives you that afternoon trade window as I've mentioned earlier. You can also earn 1% annual percentage yield and 1% cash back on a checking account that you'll get with M1 Plus. And you can also borrow, even though I'm not a big fan of borrowing money, but you can borrow at a less rate at 2% compared to 3.5% in the free account. Just keep in mind though, your first year is free and then it'll renew a year from now. And it depends on this. If this option's available, they may try to throw a free year at you, but keep in mind right now, the price as of the recording of this video is $125 a year. So keep that in mind. This also gives you the opportunity to have custodial accounts. So if you want to build investment portfolios for your kids, that's a super cool thing and hats off to you for doing that. This gives you that option as well. I'm back here on my investment portfolio. I'm going to click on the hamburger menu again and let's go from top to bottom. Of course, my portfolio is this right here, my $102 in my big tech pie. You can look at your activity. That's the second option down here. And you can see from the bottom to the top, I first deposited back in March of 2021, $100. I did a stupid thing with buying single stocks. I didn't know what I was doing back here on March 16th. And then I got a dividend on Apple. And then on May 27th, I figured out how to actually do this the right way. And that's why you can see it says 2 buys and 5 sells. We're gonna go back to the hamburger menu and then we can click on holdings. Now what this does is it shows you all of the stocks and ETFs that you have in your portfolio. At the very top, you can see how many total positions or stocks that you own. You can see right here it says 6. The cost basis, which is $100.53. That means I put in $100. You can see my value is now at $102. That means that my growth is $1.50. That's a good thing. That means my $100 I put in has grown. I'm gonna click back on the hamburger menu and then we can go on to funding history. That just lets you know how many deposits versus withdrawals you've made. You can see I've done 100 and 0 withdrawals so far. And then bank connection at the bottom. So if you don't have your bank connected, hop over here, connect your bank. I recommend a checking or a savings account that can withdraw with ACH. You wanna make sure you encounter no fees to transfer. M1 Finance is a free platform to use. Take advantage of free. Don't pay fees. Unnecessary. It's kind of stupid. So now that we have all of that broken down, I'm back here on my investment portfolio and you can see it says big tech. That is the one pie I currently have in my account. If I tap on that, it'll open up that pie and you can see I'm pending a rebalance and I'll share with you what that means in just a moment. But you can see the breakdown of what's in this pie: Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, Apple, Facebook, and Tesla. So that's what's going on currently in my pie. There's a couple of things I can do with this particular big tech pie. I can hit manage pie at the very bottom right-hand side. It then gives you the opportunity to view details, to share the pie with other people, to rebalance, or to edit your pie. I'm gonna hit edit pie just to kind of show you what that looks like. And it's gonna load up my pie and it gives you the opportunity to change your targets. So this currently is how it's broken down. Now the cool thing about M1 Finance is they give you the opportunity to have fractional shares. And that is what this means. You don't have to worry. For example, I think Amazon's going for about $3,000 for every 1 share of stock that you own in Amazon. Well, if you don't have $3,000 to put into Amazon, you don't have to worry about that with M1 Finance. You transfer in what you can and it'll split up your money and buy fractional shares of each one of these companies as it's listed right here. You can see I have it split up where I have 17% going into Alphabet, 17 in Amazon, 17 in Apple, so on and so forth, all the way down to Facebook and Tesla at 16%. Now, let's say I was really more interested in Tesla. I said, hey, in my big tech pie, I wanna put more of my money toward Tesla than I do one of these other clowns in this portfolio. Well, I can then click on the plus sign right at the bottom where it says Tesla and increase that percentage. You see what I'm doing now? Let's say in this pie, I want to go to 45% on Tesla. Whoops. 45%. I know I messed up Facebook there a little bit too, but okay, so I got 45% on Tesla, but look at the top. It says you now have 124% of 100. You can't do that. A pie is 100%. You can't have more than a pie. So that means you got to sacrifice one of these other stocks or delete them out of your pie. Now, I don't want to delete them out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take Microsoft down to 8%. I'll take Apple down to 8%. And then I'll take Amazon down just enough to get me to 100%. Boom, there we go. So now you can see most of everything else that I deposit from this point forward, specifically into the big tech pie that I have shown right here. Most of the money's going into Tesla, and then it's sprinkled into the rest of these companies. Now, I'm not going to save that because that's actually not what I want to do, but I just wanted to show you what that was all about. Next up on deck, let's talk about research and expert pies before we build our pie. So with expert pies, these are things that are already built within M1 Finance that make it kind of easy, especially for beginners. So within the app, on the bottom right-hand side, you see where it says research? Tap on that. Now, in this screen, you have some news that you can look at to see how the stock market's going. And then you also have this search bar at the top. You can search for whatever stock you're interested in. Let's say you're interested in the Apple stock. You can either type it by ticker symbol or by the company name. So I know Apple is AAPL, and you can see right there it shows up, or I can type in the name of the company, Apple. Just make sure you select the right one because you can see you have a hospitality REIT or Apple, the actual company that makes the iPhone and things like that. So I want to click on the Apple that makes the iPhone. So here we are. You can see the market cap, the PE ratio, the dividend, news, price history, as well as the profile of the company that tells you what they're all about. Now, in this, I can see kind of what their return rate has been. Do you see that? I can see what their 52-week range is, from a total of $79 a share all the way up to $144, and then I can relate that to the current share price of $124.54. Let me look at, let's look at Tesla for the fun of it. I'm gonna go back here, I'm gonna type in Tesla. There it is. You can do some research down here if you wish to do so, and then you can see there's a big blue button that says add to watch list. I can click on that, and now it's on my watch list. So if I hop over here, let me go back to the research tab, and I click on the hamburger menu at the top left-hand side, you'll notice it has different options than it did when I was on the Invest tab. So for research, I have news, stocks, funds, expert pies, my pies, and watch list. Let's click on watch list, and right there you'll see Tesla. You see I've already had Apple added in and JP Morgan. This does not mean you bought any of these shares. This just means you're keeping an eye on it. And through the course of time, you can see, is it performing the way I want to? Am I waiting for it to drop down before I add it to a pie or add it into my investment? That is where you can do this right here in the app. Now, let's go on to expert pies, especially helpful for beginners. Click on our buddy, the hamburger menu at the top left, and click on expert pies. It's kind of like the fourth option down here. Let's say you want to retire soon, and you want to focus your M1 portfolio based on retirement only. Right there on the second option, it says plan for retirement. I can click on that, and then it says, what year do you want to retire in? I don't know, what year do you guys want to retire in? You can go all the way up to 2060 if you want. Why don't we retire in 2025? That sounds pretty awesome, doesn't it? So I'm gonna hit done, right there it says 2025, and then it gives you the options that are related to that year. Aggressive, conservative, or moderate. Aggressive being that you wanna go all in with potentially high growth, but it could be volatile. Conservative means there's not a lot of risk, but probably not a lot of growth either. And moderate is right in the middle of both of those. I'm gonna click on aggressive just for the fun of it. And then you can kind of see what makes up this expert pie. The expense ratio, the dividend yield, and the growth over the period of time. That's what we're looking at. And then if I click on targets at the top of this screen, you can see how it's split up. This is what makes up this pie. You got a bunch of Vanguard funds, as you can see here, as well as the ticker symbol of the Vanguard funds located at the top. You can see there's an iShares account, more Vanguard, there's an Invesco, there's a SPDR. That's what makes up this particular aggressive pie. Let me hop back and show you another example. You know, on this channel, we love dividends, right? So let's say you want to invest in some dividend paying expert pies. Well, if you look down here, it's about the fourth option down. It says income earners. Choose a portfolio focused on dividends. Tap on that. And here's what we got. Bank balance sheet, domestic, global, long-term, bonds, all that kind of stuff. It's up to you what you want to do. But I'm going to choose domestic dividends. Click on that. And then I can click on the targets at the top, as we did earlier. And it looks like we have the VIG, ETF, DON, and DES. Nice little conservative dividend paying ETFs. That's what makes up this particular domestic dividend income earners expert pie. This could be just a great way to start based on what you're interested in. You click on it, You look at kind of what you're looking for. Do you want to do conservative, aggressive, and then kind of set it and forget it. But I don't know. I don't know about you. I like to invest in my own opportunities. So with that in mind, why don't we take advantage of creating our own pie? Now, I don't know about you, but I was super confused on how to build a pie when I first started. So let's break it down to make sense out of this. From the research tab, you can see it's still highlighted on the bottom right-hand side. Click on the hamburger menu at the top left-hand side, and then it says My Pies. Click on My Pies. Right now, you can see I have my main portfolio indicated by the little pie with the star in the middle of it, and then my big tech pie, which is kind of the only pie I have available. But that changes today. Let's create our pie. You're gonna wanna go to the top right-hand side where it has the plus and tap on that. And then it's gonna say build your pie. Now what I wanna do today is I wanna build a dividend portfolio in this pie, and I wanna focus on dividend aristocrats. If you're not familiar with what a dividend aristocrat is, it is a company that pays a dividend based on shares that you own. If you're not familiar with that, basically for every share of a company that you own, they pay you in a form of their profits in the form of dividends. So an aristocrat is a company that has continued to increase their dividend payout over the last 25 years at least, and are a member of the S&P 500. Now, this is not financial advice. Everything I do in this example is based on my financial situation. I'm not giving you any financial advice. I do not know your financial situation, so you got to do what's right for you. And if you're not sure, consult a financial professional. What I want to do is I want to click on the little plus sign under where it says build your pie. And then the first thing you need to do is add slices to that pie. You can do stocks, you can do different ETF funds, you can do expert pies like we looked at earlier, you can add something from your watch list, or you can add a pie within your pie from your existing pies. Take a shot for every time I said pie. You're gonna be drunk by the end of this video. Anyway, let's see. The first dividend aristocrat, which has increased their dividend by the last 61 years, is ticker symbol CINF. Cincinnati Financial. All I have to do is type that in. Now I can hit that little plus button and boom, it adds to this new pie that we're building. Or if I wanted to, I can tap on that and get some additional details, do some additional research if I want to, and then go from there. But for this purpose, I'm just gonna click on the plus sign and there we go. It's now officially added to the pie. Next, Dividend Aristocrat has increased their payout over the last 63 years, and that's MMM, otherwise known as the 3M company. I'm going to hit plus, and there she goes. Kimberly-Clark, ticker symbol KMB. Click on that. They've increased their dividend over the last 49 years. Now, remember, you can add as many stocks into your pie as you want, or as many ETFs into this pie as you want. Just keep in mind, though, that you're going to have to split this up to equal 100%. So if you add like 100 stocks inside your pie, well, you're going to invest 1% every time you invest money in there, into that pie. So 1% would go into like Kimberly-Clark, and 1% would go into Cincinnati Financial, or however you have this split up. Just keep that in mind. My next aristocrat is IBM. I hit plus. And let me add, let's see, we have 3. I'm going to add 2 more and then be done with it. All right, and that's my last one. I'm gonna hit done. So I actually ended up adding 6 to this pie, but that's okay. You can see it split it up 17% in the first couple, and then the last 2, 16%. Not bad, that's cool. I can do a couple things. I can adjust this if I wish to do so. If I wanted to give a little bit more power to IBM and take a little bit away from 3M, or bring one down to 5%, whatever, as long as it adds up to 100%. Now, what we wanna do is we wanna hit the save button at the top right-hand side. It's creating the pie. How cool is that? Well, now we gotta name the pie. Now, my other pie was named Big Tech. This one, easy, Dividend Aristocrats. 6 stocks that, you can type whatever you want in the description. You don't even have to type anything. I'm just doing this for fun. All right, and then once you're done with that, hit the save button. And then you'll see it show up right here, unused in portfolio Dividend Aristocrats. You can click on that if you want to look at it a little bit more, but that is that. That's how you build a pie. Now you can build as many pies as you want. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. We can continue to click the plus button at the top right-hand side if you want to continue to add. But what I want to do is I actually want to take this and I want to transfer money in and then deposit it into the Dividend Aristocrats. Now, how you transfer money in is you go to the bottom, right in the center where it says transfers. You tap on that, and then you click on the button that says move money. Tap on that, And then you have a couple of options. The very first one, of course, you can do a one-time transfer, which is what we're going to do today. You can do recurring transfer. What I like about this is this gives you the opportunity to cut something out of your budget. So whether it's Starbucks, whether it's a meal, whether it's something dumb you don't need anymore, you cut that out of your budget, and instead you set up a reoccurring transfer that maybe is every week, bi-weekly, monthly, or whatever cadence you would like to set it at. But that way, instead of putting money towards something dumb, you can say, take it out of my bank account on this day, every single week, and here's the amount I want you to transfer out into my M1 portfolio. So that makes it a very cool way to set yourself up on autopilot. So in this case, I am gonna hit one-time transfer. Now there's a couple things I can do. I can either transfer out of M1 Finance into my bank account. Let's say you need to make some money moves. You gotta bring it back to your bank account. You can do that by simply selecting the from M1 Finance to your bank account. But in this case, we wanna transfer money in to M1 Finance. So we wanna say from my bank account in to M1 Finance. So I'm gonna click on select account from the from, and I wanna do my checking account. And then to my M1 portfolio. And that is as simple as that. Now, the amount can be at a minimum $10, as I mentioned earlier. Unless it's your very first transfer, then it's a minimum of $100. In this case, I'm not doing 10, I'm actually gonna go up to 50. I'm gonna transfer $50 in for this example. I'm gonna hit the continue once I verify that my money is correct. And you can look at it one last time. Okay, great. If you wanna set that up as recurring, it gives you one more option to do that. Not interested in that right now. I'm gonna hit the transfer button. It's gonna pop up with a little confirmation screen one last time, hit confirm, and onward it's gonna go. Your transfer to M1 portfolio has been created. Pending transfer of $50 and auto invest is on. And then on this screen, it just lets you know that you have a pending transfer of $50 coming in. And once that clears your bank, it takes a couple of days sometimes, hopefully not that long unless you do it over the weekend or over a holiday, and then it'll be officially in your account. So you can see that $50 is on its way, but we have some work to do, because if I hop over to the far right-hand side on research and I click on that, you'll notice that I have an unused pie, the pie that I just built, which is the Dividend Aristocrat pie. So how do we get that in motion? Here's what we need to do. Go to the far left-hand side where it says invest. Now this is what I do. It's up to you how you want to manage this. But right where it says cash 11 cents, manage pie, pull up on that option. Pull up, boom. Everything comes up here. So you can see, of course, the next trade window, as I said earlier in the video, 9:30 a.m. And then there's that afternoon window at 3 p.m. for M1 Plus members. So what I want to do is I want to make sure a couple settings are adjusted. The very first thing you could do is when you transfer money in, you see how it says auto invest? What it's going to do is it's going to automatically invest in the current pies that you have listed in your portfolio. Right now, I only have big tech listed in the portfolio, and that's a big deal. We want to do not only big tech, but also our Dividend Aristocrat pie. So we need to add that into the portfolio. But I can do another option. I can click on auto invest, and I can click off on that. It says off. I click off. I pull back up. You can see it is now off, which what that means is once my $50 transfer comes in, it's going to just come to my account, and you'll see it says cash balance of what will be $50.11. So once that transfer comes in, I'll have a cash balance, and then at that point, I have the option to invest it in whatever pie I want to do it. That allows you to kind of control which area of your M1 Finance portfolio your money is going to. But I'm going to set auto invest back on, and I'm going to X out. And then what I want to do is I want to add my pie in, because right now how it's set up, once my $50 comes through and that 9:30 a.m. trade window opens up, it's going to go only into big tech. I don't want that. I want it to go into big tech plus Dividend Aristocrats. So how do I get that pie I just built in motion? Here's what we got to do. Click on Manage Pie right at the bottom once we're in our M1 portfolio. Click on Manage Pie, and then we want to hit Edit Pie. Now you want to make sure that you're looking at your actual portfolio. So you can click on details and you can see it says my M1 portfolio. And of course, my title is Living the Sweet Life, because that's what we do here on this channel. Subscribe. But anyway, you just want to make sure that all looks good. And then I want to go back to targets, and then I want to hit the blue plus button. Once I do that, it then takes me over to all of this. Now this is where you could invest into individual stocks if you want to within your portfolio. But I want to hop over to where it says My Pies, You can see it on the very far right-hand side. Click on that, and there it is, Dividend Aristocrats. I'm gonna hit the plus button, and then I'm gonna hit done. Now, I have a decision to make. Right now, it's saying, hey, you have 101% of your portfolio going in, and that's not right, it needs to be 100%. So you either need to bring down big tech, which I could do 99% of that $50 into big tech and 1% into Dividend Aristocrats, or you can adjust it. So I'm gonna adjust this. I'm gonna do a 50-50 split right now on this. I'm gonna hit save. Confirm changes. Are you sure you wanna make this change to your portfolio? Yes, I do. Hit confirm. Saving, and now you see it. Now we have not only big tech, but also Dividend Aristocrats. Now, of course, there's nothing in there yet because my transfer is still pending. It's still coming through the process. What if I want to add another pie? Well, we go through that same process. Go over to research, go to the hamburger menu, go to my pies. It was already there. I can hit plus, build a new pie, and then add that in. You can build as many pies as you want. The trick is you want to make sure that you eventually use them in your portfolio if you want to make sure you're investing into that pie. And then as time goes by, I can mess around with this Dividend Aristocrat pie. It's almost like my own little mini ETF. Think about it this way. I have an ETF with a 0% expense ratio because I'm managing it myself. Now, of course, if any of these Dividend Aristocrats falls off the list and they don't increase their dividend, calling them an aristocrat here in the portfolio, but they're really not because they didn't increase the dividend, which means they fell off the list. But that's just a bunch of nuance. It's really your call. Remember, you're in the driver's seat with M1 Finance. So as soon as my $50 comes in, as soon as that next trade window hits, I'll have a 50-50 split right here. I can always adjust that if I want, as I showed you here on today's video. But what other questions do you have about M1 Finance? I'm going to continue to invest in this portfolio. I'm going to continue to grow it. And as I go through time, I'm going to be creating pies and sharing them with you, not only here on YouTube, but on an upcoming Patreon that we're going to have right here on the channel. So get ready for that. And if you're interested in joining me on Patreon, more information to come out about that soon. But I want to know what other questions. What did I miss? What else is confusing about M1 that you want to know a little bit more about? Comment down below and I'll make sure I dedicate a video to you. But until next time, I hope you enjoyed that. Make sure you check out these other videos that might be helpful for your personal finance journey, and we'll see you on the next video.